My name is Finneyfrock, and I am a spoken word artist. I write poetry, and I also write young adult fiction. 95% of my poems are born out of writing circles. We have a specific amount of time, something like 15 or 20 minutes, and I do a lot of extemporaneous writing on a prompt, and that's usually the nugget of the poem. Then I take that nugget back to my workshop, and usually weeks after that, it starts to resemble the final poem that it will become. Josh's favorite tree is a western red cedar. It's the way the boughs reach out to scoop things off the ground, especially boys whose toes grip the bark like crows do telephone lines. Josh has turned trees into afternoons and patio chairs, into chalkboards and tight ropes. He even made a tree into a telephone booth once, but he never knew if the call went through. It was one of my earliest dreams to write a book. I was walking through the airport. I was going to San Francisco to visit a friend, and a voice just kind of started up in my head, and the lines that came to me were, "At 14, I turned dark. Now I'm Celia, the dark." And so I just sat down and opened up my computer and started typing. And, literally with no plan, I just wrote chapter 1 and started writing, whatever this voice in my head was telling me. The first day of 9th grade, I walked 20 blocks from my house to Hershey High School in boots so thick, it looked like I grew 3 inches over the summer. I wore a gray shirt with a black hoodie, which was pulled down so far over my forehead, it met my eyeliner. My first novel is called The Sweet Revenge of Celia Dorr, and that will be coming out in probably March of 2013. Some kids, I've been told, come to school to learn. Some come for the social outlet or because they love theater or football. Most come because it's legally required by the state and therefore their parents. It is about a 14-year-old poet named Celia who does not fit in her high school in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And she is very angry, and as the story opens, she wants revenge on another girl for something that happened when she was in 8th grade. I didn't have a specific plan worked out, but I did know this. It would be public, it would humiliate someone, and it would be clear to that someone that I had orchestrated it. It's especially fortunate for me as a young adult writer to live in an old school. I feel like when I need a little inspiration, I can just walk out into the hallway and see the old lockers and the old entranceways and imagine that it's filled with teenagers. I teach for a program called Writers in the Schools. So I actually go into a school one day a week and just teach spoken word, just encourage kids to write, express themselves. This poem was born out of that experience and what it's like to be in these schools in the spring. The kids at school claim fevers and hand their laughs to spring, new and generous, dropping its pollinated water all over me, sweating pink salt into my eyes. Go ahead, spring, pee on my grass. Let the boys come to school without deodorant. Let boiler rooms cook painted windows into brick. Let me go to bed cozy and wake up freezing. Spring, do these things. It's one of my greatest hopes with my poems that people would love my poem the way they love a piece of music, and they would just want to hear it again. And not necessarily that they would search for some meaning or strive to understand the poem. Let each pull a hair from his head and hold it up between his fingers. Let us see which one the wind carries in.